Welcome to the Professional Photographers of America's Photographic Competition. Congratulations! You have been honored to perform a task that is vital to maintaining the highest standards represented by the PPA Master of Photography degree. Your status as a PPA International Juror puts you in an elite group of individuals trained and qualified to evaluate these images based upon the 12 elements of a merit image. PPA's International Photographic Competition Committee is responsible for maintaining the integrity of every photographic merit awarded to these entries, and feels that a few comments are vitally important to create the proper atmosphere and mindset conducive to performing your tasks with the maker's best interest at heart. As an international juror, you are expected to critically view these images and evaluate their execution and interpretation of the subject matter. A merit-worthy image must demonstrate the maker's understanding and congruent application of the 12 elements of a merit image. Simply stated, the combination of elements need to make sense. It is imperative that an image be able to stand on its own virtues and must be judged accordingly. Your evaluation must be objective, without allowing any personal bias as to subject matter or style to affect your score. You must maintain an intense desire to be fair to the maker. Your heartfelt, consistent evaluations, whether for or against an image, are critical to the fairness of the judging and its educational value. Photographic work today spans the full gamut of subject matter from conceptual and deeply imaginative to classical portraiture. Our greatest desire is to fully reward creative and technical ability. To do so, you must be liberal in your interpretation of imaginative thought and style. District judging is the same as international judging in that numerical values are placed on images. These numbers serve two primary purposes. Number one, the scores are helpful in the selection of awards. And two, district judging scores gives more thorough barometer of how an image relates to merit, thus helping entrants prepare for the International Photographic Competition. Therefore, it is critical that you have the courage to utilize the entire range. To preserve the educational value of competition, you must deliver the proper score regardless of how high or how low. The quality of work submitted into any competition generally ranges from exceptional to below exhibition standards. Therefore, your scores must reflect this diversity. No one benefits when images are all scored in a limited range. As a reminder, first decide on the grade level, then determine the number within the grade level. This form of judging is paramount for consistency within this judging and for maintaining a level playing field from district to district. You must evaluate each image objectively without bias and render an accurate score. Give credit where credit is due. Reward creativity and excellence, as that is the nature of what we strive for. PPA's International Photographic Competition Committee is charged with maintaining the highest standards of the exhibit. And to give you a visual reference of meritorious work, here are some examples from the current general collection. Whenever there is a distinct discrepancy between your individual score and that of the jury, you are duty-bound to challenge that score. Your score may be significantly higher than the other jurors. You may have seen supporting factors in the image that other jurors may have overlooked. Conversely, your score may be significantly lower than the panel. You may have seen some areas of concern or technical issues that they may have overlooked as well. Either way, present your case and then listen intently on what your other jurors have to say. It is very possible that they saw things that may have eluded you. Be flexible. Listen to the comments and respond accordingly. If you wish to challenge a score, try to do so at once. However, as you've all experienced, there are times when you can't get that image and score off your mind. For that reason, even after the image has been scored, it is subject to recall for reconsideration. The person challenging is allowed to fully express him or herself without interruption. Each juror in turn presents their viewpoint. At times, the jury chairman, who may also challenge, may comment prior to the concluding rebuttal. So that each image receives the fairest evaluation, there are 3 automatic challenge situations. First, anytime an individual score is 10 points or more off the combined jury average, in scores of 70 or higher, the score is automatically challenged. The second automatic challenge occurs when the score result differs from the majority of the panel regarding merit. The third automatic challenge occurs when the score result differs from the majority of the panel regarding images scoring 95 or higher. Each of you must now rise to the occasion and task given you. Your diligence in these competitions will further the art and science of photography and maintain the high standards we all aspire to in our profession. It is your duty to preserve the integrity of the Merit and Master of Photography degree. It will also be your privilege and pleasure to reward the images you're about to see with all the honors they deserve.
Yes.
Okay, judges, y'all ready?
Count down over there, Justin? Okay.
Yep.
Are we done yet?
Okay. Didn't take my thing out.
Me neither.
Scores an 82.
Challenge. I had this up in the next category at 86. It's got really nice impact. I like the composition. I think the black and white tonality's handled well. It's very simple, but it's got some staying power.
I gave this an 83 for the positives. I love the image. Maybe a little lacking in expression for me to go higher.
So we're going to jump to go the other direction.
Sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's my fault.
I scored this an 83 in the merit category, and all for the positives. I can come up.
I scored this an 82 in the merit category. I love how crisp this high key is done for the positives.
I was in above average category 77, and I liked the expression and the cleanness of most of the black and white. I had some issues with the chair right behind her head that almost looked like it was part of her hair bumping out, and the feet coming at us was a little bit distracting. But the legs in the chair just didn't look like they were from the same chair. The angle of it is kind of disturbing as far as the angles and the curves on one leg versus the other, and just got a little bit distracting.
Mike?
Well, in rebuttal, let's talk about the chair first. I'm seeing this as an older chair, and have older chairs like this myself, and those back legs go wonky on them. So I can buy that those were the original legs in there. I'm also looking at, I'm seeing a little something that's bothering me by her hair in the back of the chair, so I'm reconsidering. I still think this is definitely a merit-worthy image. I'm going to come down to the top of the merit category at 84.
Judges, what's your score? Scores an 83.
Gifts from grandmother.
Scores an 82.
We call him Bubba.
Scores 78.
Classic beauty.
Scores 79.
Long days and hard rides.
$78.
Bewitching bride in blue.
$78.
I'll challenge. I'm at merit category 80 in this and enjoy the composition, the nice lean, the nice lines of the dress coming up. I like the idea that with all the blue that's going on, especially even that blue way back in the left side to help create depth, how it contradicts the warm fireplace feel. Nicely done as far as the pose and the environment.
Listen. Oh, it's Elise, I'm sorry.
Me?
Right,
Suzanne.
I'm sorry.
Okay. No, you're fine.
You right there.
I'm the one that said we had to go right, so.
I was for the merit also for the positives that were said. I love the storytelling, the leading lines, the fluff of the dress, and I love the look on her face. It's repeat the title?
Bewitching bride in blue.
Yeah, bewitching. I mean, she's letting you know she's got the man and ready for the honeymoon.
I was at 76 in the above average category. I was having difficulty with the element on the left-hand side, really pulling my eye away from the main story of the bride. Also having some issues with either the retouching or the makeup or something on the face, or some jagged edges into the shadow of her cheek there, or cheekbone. It's just it's drawing my eye there and away from everything else.
I was at 76, above average. I felt like the camera angle was a little low and the pose felt a little awkward, but also looking at the hand on camera left, where it touches the dress, there's something confusing going on there where it's suddenly dark in the dress in that area, and I can't understand, I can't figure out what's going on there, but it was concerning to me.
I was at a 78 on this. I really love all the blue carrying through the photo, and when it first comes up, it's just a striking image. What held me back was the focus seems to be on the front of the dress, down at the skirt part, and not on her eyes. As well as what Michael said with the jagged shadows on the face, especially on the chin.
All right, in rebuttal, I do see a lot of aspects that you're mentioning, and the hand, it's just a shadow underneath the hand. The light's coming from right to left, and it's creating a shadow underneath that's going into the blue tones. But it may have a little bit of a objectionable light on her face, giving us some jagged edges, like you might say. And so, yeah, I guess I will lower my score below merit level into 79.
Perfect. Let's rescore. Scores are 78.
Clint.
Scores 79.
I'll challenge that. I'm squeaking right in there, right at an 80, but I think I've got a mirrored image here. I love the impact of this. Man, you get riveted right in those eyes. I enjoy the bullseye composition on this as well. Elements are bringing me right back to those eyes again. I think it just gets there.
I'm at 77, above average. The brightness behind his head and neck, very distracting from his face. The presentation also pulls me out of the image and into the speckles around the outside. There were some great positives, but those things held me back a little.
I was also at a 77. Reasons that Lisa stated, especially that right kind of square right under his camera right ear. It appears that the whole image was darkened down around the edges and not in that area. So it really pulls me, along with the gun barrel that just kind of edges the side of his hat there. They pull me away from his eyes.
I was at 82 in merit level, and a lot of things that have been seen as negatives so far were actually positives to me for this particular image. I mean, the person looks like he's reenacting back into maybe Civil War time. He's got a percussion cap type of rifle with him. And then, so now the brightness in the background kind of looks like it would have been seen in an image from back in that day. The speckled area works with the speckled hat. You got good bullseye composition. It is a little bit bright in those little areas under the ears that have been noticed, so I'm like wavering, but a lot of really nice things about this image.
I also gave it an 80. I just love the artistic technique done to his face. It just so helps pull us into the story of what he's going through, what he's thinking of, what he's getting ready to hunt or not. I love the technique to the hat and the jacket. I believe this is a merit.
Well, in rebuttal, I think Carl did most of my rebuttal for me, so thank you. The barrel continuing up behind the hat is one thing that wasn't addressed. If that wasn't there and it didn't have the highlight there, we'd be arguing about what happened to the gun barrel and why isn't there a highlight there. The speckleness in the background, that's one of the things that kept me out of the next category. The presentation, I think the presentation could definitely come down, but all the other elements are there, to me, for a merit image. So I'd like to have you join me there.
Guys, let's rescore. Scores an 81.
My birthday suit.
And we have a majority challenge.
I'll challenge. I'm at 84 in the upper end of the merit category. Love the interaction of the baby and the maker, giving us good eye contact for anyone who wants to look at this innocent face. It's a simple pose. It's clean. Presentation is museum quality type of feel to it. A lot of nice things going on here with this image.
It's me. I also scored this an 80 in the merit category. I just love the impact is so cute, and I love the softness of the bottom of the image in comparison to the contrast, of the sharpness of the eyes. A lot of times we shoot babies on a wide open or f-stop, and so I just really like this. It's really cute. The more I look at it, the more I like it.
79 above average. I struggled. Obviously, I was right on the line on this. I was losing a little bit of the edge of the leg, just kind of went a little disappearing into the foof of whatever he's sitting on. But I'm right there, guys. I can come up. It's argued.
I was at 76 above average. For me, I enjoyed the positives. I like the museum presentation. I like the expression and the light in his eyes or her eyes. The skin felt like it was maybe overly softened. Start to lose definition, particularly in the face, and then it just has a little bit of a muddy quality. I wanted just a little tiny bit more snap in the black and white.
I was also at a 79. I love the expression, and those eyes just draw you in. What held me out of the merit category was the leg, and it's not just covered up by the fur. It almost just disappears, as if it needs a little more contrast or something to pop that out.
Yeah, in rebuttal, I think that the overall tint to this is almost a selenium kind of feel to it. So it's given us a little bit more of some history maybe from the maker. But the expression and the skin tone, I think, that we're mentioning that it might be really blended. I think, babies have skin like that, and some of them are just that way, and I think this one really does, because I see good wrinkles in there, in the arms and in the leg area and the hip areas. I mean, we're seeing nice little baby fat going on there, so I don't think that it was post-processed out. I think it's just the way that little one is. The leg, yeah, I mean, would I like to see more of it to give us more of a base? Maybe, but we do have plenty of base for the leg that's closest to us, and those cute little toes poking out, giving us a little more of a story. I think it's a wonderfully done image, and I invite you to be in the merit category with me. I'm at 84.
Scores an 82. That's a good challenge. Before we rotate, I'll make a comment. That was actually a majority challenge where 3 of the judges were actually in a different category than the final score. So when I call it a majority challenge, Carl went ahead, the judge can challenge that point, or if nobody challenges, then the JC will just assign somebody to do that challenge. So, but with that, let's rotate one seat to your right.
What's the chords? Over there in that corner.
Where's my purse?
We we try to rotate every 10 to 15 minutes so judges get a different angle, a different perspective, shakes up their blood a little bit, and a new friend next to him. So
These chairs aren't really comfortable.
okay, next image.
Wait, I've got to be reset somehow.
Okay, and you carry your own device with you. Yep.
Huh. What'd you do?
He recused by accident.
Clear.
I know this
There we
girl.
go. We're ready.
Okay.
No problem.
Volquias Street Picker, Mexico.
Scores of 74.
Would you believe that the cat did it?
We have a majority challenge. And see who has hands. Lisa, let you grab it.
I have this at 80, deserving of a merit, and I was on the fence, but ultimately I decided that it was beautifully captured. The subject matter and storytelling really carried it for me. The light in the eyes, really nicely done, so it felt like a merit to me.
I had this at an 80, deserving of a merit. What a wonderful expression on this little dog's face. And the painterly effect on it is done well, where it's still sharp where it needs to be sharp, and then kind of fades off to put you back up into that expression.
Carl.
I'm at average category 74 and enjoy the textures and the work that was done on this, but I have some issues with the eye that we're not seeing and partly seeing. It just gets a little bit disturbing. Doesn't really look like an eye. But then on the bottom, the double little ledge that the puppy is sitting on gives us an illusion of two different bases, and it's given us some distortion to the tail and to the feet, and it's a little bit uncomfortable.
I scored this an 82 for all of the positives that had already been said. I mean, look how cute that little face is, and it looks like he's got on a bow tie. So I just think the expression combined with the title and the presentation, it really was in the merit category for me.
76 above average. In addition to what's been said, I did have some technical issues with some of the painting technique. I don't think it's carried through consistently, especially along the edge of the back and into the legs. And the background almost looks like it has metamerism going on in there. So there's some technical issues that are holding me back.
And judges, let's rescore. Since it was assigned as an advocacy, the judge doesn't have a rebuttal to win an actual challenge. So. Scores of 78. Next image.
Confident beauty.
Score 76.
Blessed peace.
Scores of 79.
Challenge.
Got it.
I have this at 80 in the merit category, just 1 point above. This image is nicely composed. The bullseye composition inside of a square just focuses everything right on the baby. The lighting is soft and nice as you would like for a baby. The color harmony is beautiful. Merit.
I had this at a 78. I do enjoy the bullseye composition as well as the presentation. I think the presentation is very, very nice. What held me out of the merit category was the eyes. One of them has a really large catchlight, and the other one it's very small. But it almost gives it an over-processed look to them.
Carl.
I was at 80 in the merit category and wavering, and the more I look at it, the more I'm wavering on the bottom side of it, and it beyond the eyes. That was one of my main concerns, but the way it's swaddled with the arm up, it looks like maybe it had a broken arm, and it's just an illusion, but it gives us that feel. But then on the presentation, on the background behind the bowl and behind all that fuzz there, is that one vertical line in the bottom left corner, and I thought, well, geez, they made all the good wood everywhere else without end matched, and then we have the vertical end match right there. Just didn't quite carry.
Yeah, I gave this a 78 too. I thought the maker did a really great job on eye contact and color harmony, but it fell short for me with the eye. I thought when it first popped around that the baby had pink eye. The one eye is so much more dull than the other, it's very distracting.
79 above average because of the eyes. Then also, if you're going to do a bullseye composition, it feels like it's not quite centered. The bottom is tighter to the framing than the top, and the left feels a little tighter than the right. So if you're going to bullseye it, you really got to bullseye it.
Okay, I've heard what you had to say, and perhaps I was a little over ambitious with this one. I was right on the edge, and I think you've pulled me down to the 79, so that's where I'll be.
Okay, judges, let's rescore. 78.
Princess.
Can we clear, please?
I'm sorry?
Can we clear and start over, please?
Yes, we can.
Thank
Everybody
you.
rescore again. Scores are 77.
Black Diva.
Hit the score number.
Hang on, judges, hang on just a second.
Cues off.
Okay, judges, rescore.
There we go.
Scores 90.
Challenge. I'm at 95, and maybe I'm timid at that. And it's been up here for a while, so I've had the honor of seeing it for a little bit longer than what we could have. But wonderful light, wonderful color harmony, the presentation, the expression of the subject matter, the story that they're telling, the posing is wonderful. There's just so many really nice things that maybe 95 in the exceptional category is the low end of things. Maybe we have room to move.
Yeah, I agree with all of that. I gave it a 90 for everything that was said positive. I can't find anything wrong with it, and I can sure think I may be on the low end. It's a beautiful image. Love the impact.
86, excellent category, and I couldn't get the challenge out of my mouth quick enough because I had to repunch in the original score to be fair. But yeah, I'm off by 2 categories. So
85 has been said.
I scored this one an 87, and I had to repunch in my same score also, but the minute I punched in my score, I knew I was too low. It's beautiful. The posing, the lighting, everything about it.
So in rebuttal, what was the title again, please?
Black Diva.
Black Diva. Even love it more that we're seeing more into one eye than the other. Just to give us a little bit of mystery there, and the mystery of the lighting and what we're seeing and visualizing, communicating with this subject, that the styling harmonizes with it. But it got detail in everything, highlight and shadow, beautifully sculptured, wonderful piece. I'm going to move up to 98.
Scores 97.
He's gonna love this.
We have an automatic challenge. Score 79 with an automatic challenge.
Challenge.
And Michael, it's yours.
I'm at an 82. I'm in merit. I enjoy the very matte style of this. It's a little different than what we see quite often, and the high grain of it adds to the softness and the mood. And I think it's there for a merit.
I was also at 82 for the merit. I really enjoyed the texture and the almost old-timey feel of this image. The lighting is nice and soft across her belly to give us softness. There's great storytelling. Definitely a merit for me.
I was at a 76 on this one. To me, the one side of her head, the blacks kind of block up. I do enjoy the story and how she's a little bit giddy, and I'm sure he did enjoy this. But the posing of the legs kind of give it an amputated feel because you can't see the bottom part of her legs. And that's what held me out of the merit category, along with the blocked up hair.
Yeah, I was in the above average, low end above average, 75, for the same reasons, with the legs looking a little bit stubby and amputated. But then there's a darker line around the highlight side of her right side, all the way down her shoulder, all the way down to her torso and to her bottom, and it just doesn't make sense that the light is coming from that side. Where did that darker line come from?
I was in the merit category, but I immediately kind of regretted putting it there because of the amputated leg feel. I do love the technique and the concept, the idea. The maker did a great job on color harmony, but it falls a little short.
I got a rebuttal, don't I?
Yes.
Okay. In rebuttal, where else would the legs go? I see part of her left leg tucking under the right, and that tells me that the right leg's tucking back. If it were coming straight out, it would totally throw its entire pose off. We wouldn't have that balance there. We wouldn't have that nice pear shape of her body going on there. As far as the blocked up blacks, I'm buying that as part of this very matte style. So I personally could live with that on this type of image. Not on many images, but this type of image, it works for me. And the line on the right, I'm not seeing as much of that. I'm seeing that more, I guess, as contrast between her and the background and the grain filling into that. But coming back around, that emotion is there. It's there for the title. It fits. It's very simplistic, and I think the style and technique used on this works. Merit, 82.
Guys, what's her score? Scores to 81.
Lincoln of the night.
Scores 78.
Grumpy.
Score's an 87.
Challenge. I'm at 95, next category up, and really enjoy the grumpiness of this bird, the textures within this grumpy bird.
Corey, what was your score again?
90.
90, yeah, okay.
And the textures and the tonal values throughout this, we have great highlights and detail in the feathers in the face and in the highlights of the feathers in the back, but then you still see every single line within the dark areas of this bird too. Background is simple, good composition, museum quality type of presentation. It's a superior image.
I scored this an 89, so I can easily come up to 90. It's beautiful. I love the story. The bird, the detail when you look everywhere is perfect.
89, and it's been said.
I was at 85, and I can come up.
I was at 84 and obviously was the timid one here. The detail in this is amazing. The longer I look at it, the more I like it, and I can definitely come up.
Well, geez, I was just going to try to get you into the 90 category, but, you know, the more we all like this, I mean, maybe we are off even more. Maybe I'm off. And, you know, and looking at, again, the textures and the composition and the emotion that this person gave us from this bird, this grumpy bird, I think I might be a category off. I'm changing my score to 95 and wish you would join me.
$95.
Hey, Julie, Rachel.
$83.
Behind those eyes.
$79, and we have an automatic challenge.
I'll take this one.
Okay.
I scored this one an 81 in the merit category. I love the intense stare of this image, and it has great lighting, great light in the eyes. The textures through the hat and skin and beard, they just all work together.
I was in the merit category also at 80 and enjoy the light and the. I like what it does to the texture of his whiskers and the skin, giving us his the character that he is, a little bit distorted nose that's going on there. I like that it's fading off into nothing in the background. That everything that's light is protruding forward. I think that's really intriguing.
I scored this a 76. I just thought he was a little too in your face. And I like a close crop. And I imagine maybe if we did pull out, there would be, like we talk about his shirt and his hat and other things that maybe were distracting. But just those were the things that distracted me. It was just a little too abrupt.
78 above average. It lacked, believe it or not, a little impact for me. I almost needed some more snap and depth to it. I'm also getting pulled out a little bit to the plaid patterns on a shirt that maybe could be darkened down or burned down to bring a little bit more depth into them as well.
I was at 84 the merit. I really enjoyed the composition on this. His eyes are right there on that third line, drawing me right in. It's dark around the edges, so I feel like everything just directs me right straight into those eyes. And this face has a lot of character, has a lot of impact for me. So I'm happy in the merit category.
You did rebuttal.
Oh, I
Challenge it here, but
Oh, okay. In rebuttal, the close crop, I think it just works with the intense stare he's giving. Could it use a little more snap with contrast? Maybe. But I think it works. He's kind of got a soft but intense stare. So I think if you added a whole lot more contrast, it would kind of take away from that.
Okay, judges, let's rescore. Scores an 80.
First love.
Scores an 81.
Awaiting Gabriel.
$79.
Challenge.
It's yours.
I had this at an 82 in the merit category. I think it's beautifully handled. It's got great lighting. You can see that she's pregnant without overly showing it off. She has great posing. The lines to her legs, you can see her toes. And the painterly effect, I think, was well handled.
It's above average, 77, and enjoy the light and the pose, but it just seemed like it was hazy enough that it almost gave us a feel of being out of focus into her face. And I really wish it was bothersome with the train of the maternity clothing that was kind of just bunched up in the bottom right corner instead of giving us a good flow to her that some of the fabric has already given us.
I scored this a 79 for the negatives. I also would have loved to have seen a different presentation around this image. I feel like there would have been more impact with a different matte color. It kind of distracts me from everything else that's probably positive.
79 above average for the reasons stated, especially the train.
76 above average. I was particularly bothered by the softness of this image. I was looking for something sharp, something that felt like it was in focus, and I just could not find anything that really looked like it was well focused.
That's what's your score?
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Rebuttal. As far as it feeling a little bit out of focus, I just think that's because her features are so small in this image with the painting. I think that if it were much larger, you'd be able to see a few more of those brush strokes. I do see what you're saying about the presentation. I would love it to be a little more, I guess a little less. That's what I'm trying to say. A little less. It's quite large for the image itself. I'm going to stay at the merit category, and I invite you to come up. I will be giving it an 80.
Final score is a 78.
I see Carnegie.
Score 74.
Where are we going?
Scores an 81.
All styled for a fashion show.
Scores an 82.
Challenge. I'm at 87 up in the next category. Man, love this image as a fashion image. I love it as a portrait. Crisp, clean, love the lines. I love the lean and the angle and the sense of motion. The fact the subject isn't engaging with me. It makes me wonder what's going on over there, but I like that. It's part of the story. Love it.
I was at 77, above average. I felt like the cropping was way too tight on the hands and on the headdress at the top. And then I wanted to see a little bit more light in the eye, and I feel like there's a lot of sclera and not a lot of iris in the eye, because it's looking so far to the left.
I scored this an 80, deserving of a merit, also because of the cropping. I love the lighting and the texture, the detail, that high key. They just nailed it. But the eyes and the cropping held me down a category.
I was at 85 and just missed the challenge part of this too. But what was the title again?
All Style for Fashion Show.
All Style for Fashion Show. This is about real estate in magazines or ads or whatever, which absolutely depicts the pose and the confinement of this. The expression, the lines that he's given us in this pose are superior. Wonderful expression, good story, good presentation. It's all there.
I gave this an 82 for all of the positives. I'm listening. I was a little bothered by the stretch marks on his arm. I think it's a he. Yeah. But I enjoy the image. I love the contrast. I love the posing. I love the title. Well done. Those are just the things that bothered me.
Well, in rebuttal, we have to put this in the context of fashion. I think Carl nailed it too, in the real estate in the magazine. And you take away anything you don't want the viewer to look at in this particular type of usage. I actually enjoyed the stretch mark because it gives this an organic feel amongst all the texture of what's going on in this chest piece and this headpiece. I think this is done extremely well. I think I'm a category off, guys. I'm taking this up to 91.
Judge, let's rescore. Scores an 88. Judge, let's rotate. One chair to your right. Shake up some blood.
Can we run the restroom?
You don't have to draw.
Take a break now?
Yes, please. Really
Okay,
quick.
we'll take a break now.
Just want to grab some water.
Audience, we'll take a 10-minute break. The audience will take a break as well.
Other door.
Excuse me?
Back there.
Yes, it's right here.
Okay. There, thank you.
Have these all been in the portrait category?
We're still in portrait. And we're starting hour 2 of our judging. So next image is
Not cat eye marbles.
score 78.
Strength of Purity.
Scores an 88.
I challenge. I gave this a 92 in the superior category. I love this image. I love the lighting, the creativity, the storytelling, subject matter. I love the pose. It really creates some tension in the image. The color harmony's great. The blue kind of cast and color cast kind of over to her skin. I want to see what y'all have to say.
84 top end of merit category. I love everything about her. The composition to me was too tight, and I get pulled back to all the elements that are in the background, those strong vertical lines. And I think if that was simplified, I'd be a lot higher.
I was at 89, excellent category for all the positives.
What was the title in this?
Strength of Purity.
Okay. I scored this at a 90, and I love that it's a tight crop and that she is walking into the right edge of that frame. It just adds to the strength title.
I was at 84 above or merit category, and I enjoy the composition and her placement within this scene. What bothered me was the unfortunate crop right at her elbow, it just seemed so tense there, where we had such a calm, pleasant expression on her face, but to create that tension on the other opposite end just didn't make sense to me.
Okay, in rebuttal, I still feel like this is a superior image. I love the title. I feel like the vertical lines in the background could be addressed with just the fact she's closer to the background maybe than where someone else would have pulled her further away from it. It reminds me of, The Handmaid's Tale, kind of the dark red. It's like almost the opposite kind of feel. So I really invite you all to come up there to around 90.
Judge, what's your score? Challenge is a 90.
Yay!
Scores next 90, I'm sorry. You know what I meant.
Sort of.
This is not the park.
Score 79.
Out to rock the world.
Score 75.
Sitting pretty.
$76.
Down and out in New Orleans.
Score 78.
Ice cream dreams.
Score 78.
What mess?
$79.
Young executive.
Score 79.
Challenge.
It's yours.
I put this one at an 81 just in the merit category. I enjoy his expression, the way he's dressed, the color harmony, the lighting. I think it's been very well handled.
It's above average at 77. I enjoyed his suit and everything and the lighting on him, but it looks a little bit too over-retouched for me. He's starting to get a little orange in the cheeks, a little bit bloxy there, and I wish if he's an executive that we'd have a little more aggressive pose. His head is a little bit tipped and not as an aggressive kind of CEO kind of feel to him.
I gave this an 82 for the positives.
79 above average. I would add that viewer right eye just seems too white in comparison to everything else.
I was at 78 for the positives and the negatives. I didn't find that the color harmony really worked. The gray with the brown, for me, that just clashed.
As far as the pose, I mean, he's a young executive. He's not going to be super aggressive yet. And to address the skin tones, he just kind of looks like one of those kids that has the rosy cheeks, and that's just how he is. I do see how that white in the eye is a little bright, since that's been pointed out. So I will come down, but I still believe that it's a merit.
Guys, let's score.
So you will be at?
I will be at 80.
Good challenge. Scores an 80.
No photos, please.
Excuse me for a second.
Type in your code you lost.
You have to tell them.
Oh, okay. 758. Guys, if you'll rescore. Again. Reset again, 229.
Maybe keep it above
Me?
the table.
Are we 3 score?
If one clears it.
Means clear.
Just score. Still says
See,
same.
only when we rescore is it because it was still
Mine's
doing their cues. See, this is
There's 3.
Oh, looks like I need a pair again.
Yeah, kick that. 833.
For me.
Yes. Then everybody does not need to rescore.
I got it.
okay.
Sorry.
This is yours, right? Yep.
So I do need to rescore.
You do need to rescore
Okay.
Michael only.
Okay, got it.
There you go. Everybody is there. I don't have a total.
Got a calculator?
I've got 5 scores. I don't have a total. So let's do this one more time. Everybody rescore. I've cleared it. Scores in 84.
Challenge. I'm at 86, the next category up, and this has such a good story, good presentation. It's very clean. The lighting is nice, gives good shape and form and texture to this dog. Just love the storyline that's going on here. Just think we should talk about this one a little bit more.
So I was in the 84. I love the tonality that is here, but I guess it's the awkwardness of the pose that you go, well, I guess it matches with the title. Yeah, I need to be at it. Michael?
81 merit category. I started in the next category up, and it came down just because it's a white line running down his face on our left, and I can't explain it with lighting or what it is. It's just separating him from the background. I don't know where it's coming from. Still a mirrored image, but hard for me to go to the next category.
I'm at 86, excellent category. I'm not seeing a white line. I just feel like this has tremendous storytelling, and it has all the other elements are really supportive of that storytelling. So for me, it fell easily into the excellent category.
I'm at an 83 for everything that's been said.
In rebuttal, the only thing negative that I've really heard is that illusion of a line down the face. I think what it is we have white fur on this dog, and we're seeing good highlights everywhere, and that line down the face looks very much like the same highlights we're seeing on the jowls and the legs and everything else. So to me, I think it's really part of it, and I don't see any ghosting there on the background, so I think it's really is part of the dog's fur. I'm at 86. Wish you enjoy me there in that category.
Final score is an 86.
Desert Reflection.
$79.
Baroque ceramic style.
Scores an 80.
cowboy.
$78.
Now we have everything.
$77.
Don't you make my brown eyes blue.
Scores from 80. We have an automatic challenge.
I'll take it.
Suzanne, I thought you would.
I gave this an 85. Up in the excellent category. I just love the storytelling. Don't make my brown eyes blue. We know the Crystal Gale song. She's got the long hair that goes with it. It's so beautiful. I think this is more than deserving of a merit. I love the way the color harmony was handled. The technique, the presentation is just under the bright blue, so it gives us still the blue with the story. I'd like to hear what you'll have to say.
79, top end of the above average category. I was troubled just a little bit on the positioning of the lighting. I felt like it was maybe wrapped around too far to her side and could have come around just a bit more. I was troubled a little bit with the color harmony too. There's a lot of aquas in there and a lot of cooler blues in her dress, and they fight a little bit for me.
77 above average. In addition to the things that have been mentioned, for me, the technique that's been applied to this in post-processing has been inconsistently applied. So you have really, really soft hair, and then you have a few spots where there's a lot of detail in the hair, and it doesn't seem to be applied to the background. Different spots on the dress look like it hasn't been applied or been so lightly applied that it doesn't really register.
I scored this a 79, just below merit category. And for me, it was mainly the crop. It's cropped right through her knees, which makes it kind of uncomfortable.
Above average 78, it's been said.
Okay. So I was probably a little overzealous in wanting it to be in the excellent category, but I still feel like it's deserving of a merit. So I would love to see you all join me in the merit category, and I'm going to score it an 84.
Okay, let's rescore. Scores an 80.
Everyday hero.
Scores an 84.
My ghoul.
Oh, can we clear this, please?
Everybody rescore. $79.
The boss.
Scores an 80. Have a majority challenge.
I'll take it.
I think you would.
I'm up at 87. This is one riveting chicken. Bam! That just comes around and just hits you right there. A lot of nice detail in it. I think nicely composed, nice balance in there. Nice contrast to the green in the background. I'm up in the next category.
76 above average. For me, the most overwhelming part of this image is the presentation. It is so powerful that I almost don't even see the chicken sometimes. And then right dead center, there's a very dark, blocked up black line that just goes straight up from the chicken's back. Those two things really just pull me away from the main subject.
78, same reasons as Lisa.
77, in addition to the presentation and the background, that the bird just doesn't seem to have a direction of light that gives us as much texture as we might see in this bird.
I gave it an 80 for the positives.
Well, it sounds like I have an uphill battle here, so dig in. As far as the black lines go, I see that as just very nice use of depth of field, separating the chicken from what's going on in the background. I'm seeing shadows. I'm seeing maybe it's barnyard. Could be trees. Could be fence line. Whatever. They're blurred enough that they keep from distracting me away from the chicken. Presentation was bothering me a little bit the longer it sat here, but that's after looking at it for a long time. I'm still holding in on the chicken. There's a great detail there. Direction of light's coming from the top down. Yeah, we're holding highlight to shadow quite well. Maybe I was overzealous at 87, but I still feel this is a mirrored image. So I'm going to drop down to 84, but I'd like to have everybody up there too.
Yeah, let's do it. Score. Scores an 80.
How much longer?
Scores 77.
Timeless elegance.
Okay, I have no way of hitting my numbers right now. What'd you do? I don't know.
I'm sure you're good.
Yeah. I got 2 lines and no numbers highlighted.
Okay, let's repair. 422.
All right, I'm back at numbers now.
Yeah, score 79.
I'll challenge that. I'm right at 80 in the merit category. Nice soft image. I love the pose. I think the color is handled well. I like the technique of the dress or the tutu or whatever the fabric she has. It feels like it's falling apart and coming out, and it's got this beautiful sense of motion going on in there. I'm buying into that and putting it in the merit category.
76 above average. For me, the juxtaposition of the softness of that disintegrating skirt against the hardness of her body, it was just too jarring. I couldn't go with the story.
79, nice lighting, beautiful color. What held me down was her legs, where the effect is applied to the skirt underneath on her left leg. It makes her leg look much wider than it is because it kind of went into the leg and not just on the skirt.
I was at 84 in the top end of the merit category, and what I bought into was a story of an hourglass, the time shifting through, and this is an older dancer that, maybe the time is slipping away from her, and that's kind of the story I had, and that story to me was handled very well.
Can you repeat the title?
Timeless elegance.
Okay. I scored this a 77. Maybe it was a little low for the leg issue and also just the hotness of that left arm, her right. It was just a little bit too much contrast for me for the technique applied to the whole background and the skirt, and yet there she is, not watercolored, painted. That was just a little distracting for me.
Well, in rebuttal, I think this is all an artistic choice. I think the choice of her being sharp versus the painted and disintegration of everything else is a choice to isolate us in on her. and talk about her beauty and her age at the same time. The highlight on her right arm, that's the direction of the light coming in, so it makes sense to me. It's not blowing out, yet there's still tone in there. And the light on her face is beautiful, and the pose is beautiful. I think it's there as an artistic piece. Very comfortable in the merit category. You're going to stay at 80. Probably should have been higher.
That's the score. Score's an 81.
The gang.
The gang.
The gang.
Gang.
Score 76.
Master performer, lighter side.
Score 74.
Doll is feeling fancy.
Can you say that title again, please?
Doll is feeling fancy.
Thank you.
Score's an 83.
It's not polite to talk with your mouth full.
Score 76.
Tree hugger.
Score 75.
Victorian Valentine.
Score 79.
Sisters.
$78.
I know what I am.
$76.
Step brothers.
Bless you.
Score 77.
Young fiddler.
$77.
That concludes this category.
That includes that. Okay. Clear? Audience? Make sense?
Yep. I'm ready.
Judging a raw image.
Bring it on.
Did they have titles?
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
Bring it on.
You thought bring on the image.
Yes. Like, let's go.
Okay, I can know that one. Scores an 80.
Another day, another mile.
Shoot. There we go.
Score 74.
Dancer audition portfolio.
Score 78.
Me and my Calvins.
Scores 82.
Challenge. I have this at an 85 in the excellent category. I mean, if this is truly straight out of Enlarger, that's phenomenal high key work right there. I mean, I've never done a high key where I didn't have to take out some dark spots in the paper or the background that shadowed.
Carl?
I'm at 81 in the merit category and enjoy the high key to this. I think that our pose could have been just a little bit more curvy with what's going on here, a little shift to the hip. And then the arm on the highlight side, I think the light could have been handled a little bit better to make sure that that was a little bit less bright than what her face is.
I scored this an 80 for the exact positives.
83, same reasons.
80, it's been said.
Okay, in rebuttal, I don't mind her a little bit more square onto the camera. She has the figure to pull it off. Her arm could be a little darker, but this is supposed to be straight out of camera-ish. So while there shouldn't be a whole lot of dodging and burning, I think it's been well handled for a capture. And I would like to see it come up.
Guys, let's rescore.
I'm staying with 85.
Scores an 84.
Nuzzle my muzzle.
Score 75.
Poised.
Scores an 86.
Challenge. I have this at 90 in the superior category. The color harmony on this is beautiful. The lighting is just beautiful across the face. It's really well handled. We have a great lighting pattern. The presentation is lovely. Let's talk about it.
I have this at an 85, low end of the excellent category. I agree that the color harmony is beautiful. Let me hear what the others have to say.
I was at 88 in the excellent category, and I agree. I might be a little bit timid. This is very well done.
I was an 84 and deserving of a merit. On the monitor, we're seeing in the shadows on that left shoulder, all of those, the shadow detail, they're green, like a very dark green with a little magenta around. So I do think it's deserving of a merit, but that's what has kept it out of the excellent category for me.
82 for exact same reasons.
Well, in rebuttal, I did not see a color shift, and looking at it straight on, I'm still feeling like the shadow is within color tolerance for me. I would score this in the excellent category, at the very least, even without the with the processing, no processing done to it. I may have been overzealous at 90. I'm going to drop to 87, but I hope you'll join me in the excellent category.
That's the score. Lisa, your score?
Oh, I didn't send it.
86.
The drum major.
Score 77.
Slobber slinger.
It's not fun.
Stop it.
Score 73.
What a girl wants.
Score 80.
Challenge. I'm at 85, next category up. Wonderful control. Remember, out of camera, out of darkroom, whatever you want to call it. Wonderful control of light, giving us detail and textures in all the different whites that are going on here. Good light on her face, good expression, pose fits with her. Good work with the secondary subjects. Well done.
I was a little lower at 80, but deserving of a merit for, I was a little worried she was out of focus in the face. Her face is a little soft. Eyes are a little soft, but I so enjoyed all of the color harmony and all of the positives that you just stated.
79 above average. I enjoy those things as well. The pose bothers me, though. She's awfully square to me, awfully square to the camera with shoulders and hips. And her right hand coming at me, all I'm seeing is kind of fingernails and claw.
77 above average. I do believe her face is out of the plane of focus. If you look at the tennis shoes on the left, they're pretty darn sharp, and the face just doesn't match that in terms of focus.
80 for positives and negatives.
Yeah, in rebuttal, softness, I think we're just seeing a very soft lit image here, and it's given us the illusion that it's not as sharp as maybe sometimes we want it. But I'm seeing good texture in the bodice of that sweater dress, and I'm seeing sharpness through her hair and her lips. I think it's fine. I like the squareness of her in this case. Her figure can absolutely pull it off, and it harmonizes with the square framing that's going on with those shelves of her shoes or whatever, boots or whatever, girl stuff. Love her hands. It helps with the fashion aspect of it. Her nails, I think, are a big part of who she is and what this is all about. So right out of camera, this is well done.
Your score? Score's 83.
Eye candy tulips.
$74.
Lonesome cowboy.
Coming in.
Score's 84.
Challenge. Up in the next category at 85, only a point away. I think the color harmony is nice. The story is there. I'm buying the emotion with his eyes. That's a lonesome cowboy right there.
I'm at 84 for all the positives. I can come up.
I'm at 83. I wish this was photographed from the other side of his face so that his smaller eye would have been away from the camera. It makes it a little uncomfortable for me to look at.
I was at 84, and I enjoy so much about this. What was hurting me from going to the next category, that stroke line just doesn't fit for me for anything else that's going on in that scene. But I'm listening. We're here.
I gave this an 84 for all the positives. But what's keeping me from going up into the next category is it's a good story, but I don't know that it's an excellent story. I mean, it lacked on impact for me just a little. It's a little flatly lit, so that kind of bothered me from going up.
Well, in rebuttal, remember, this is out of camera, so, I mean, you could do a lot of tricks to really pull this thing up, but out of camera, the lighting's there. They managed the lighting well to get it in under the brim of his hat, to get enough light onto his face so we can enjoy his eyes and the texture of his skin without either making too much shadow or making everything else too hot. As far as his different size eyes, that's probably why he's lonesome. And the stroke line the stroke line keeps me down a few points, but it still keeps me in the excellent category. So 85, pretty comfortable there.
Score's 84.
Flower of darkness.
Score's an 88, but we have a majority challenge. So,
Go ahead.
Gotta be faster
Pearl's
than
got it, okay.
I'm at 90, and I think I might be timid. This is wonderfully lit, wonderfully controlled lighting, exposed well, presented well. The composition is phenomenal. Good interaction with this subject and all of us as viewers. Without any artwork at all, straight out of the camera, this thing by itself rocks. And I think it's extremely powerful and worthy of the next level.
I scored it an 85 for all the positives. I really, really love this image, and the longer that you look at it, you can just enjoy so much about it. Those little specular highlights in the headpiece really, really add to it. It's a great job.
90. I'm already there and do feel timid. I'm not finding any fault here. Boy, you take this image, you drop the camera and say, I'm done.
I'm at 85, and I definitely underscored this image. It's spectacular.
I'm at a 90. It's beautiful. I love the lighting on her face. The only reason I didn't go up was the left arm. I think could have come out just a little bit so it wasn't cropped right at her wrist.
In rebuttal, again, the crop, I think, is more of a fashion kind of feel, and it's about real estate and keeping this in the square format. We still have, even where the crop is within this scene, we still have good lines and good base, good foundation. But the color harmony is great. I love the fact that straight out of camera, this maker gave us a face that's formed perfectly for this model without ruining the chest that was right underneath it. It was extremely well done and deserving. I'm going to move my score up to 95.
Yeah, so let's see the score. Score's a 94.
Senior with sunlit hair.
Score 75.
Breaking through.
Oh, man, mine isn't either.
There we go.
Score's 86.
Power suit.
Score's 81. We have a challenge. Melissa wants to bring back, the title was
Breaking through.
I should have challenged this when it didn't score what I wanted it to. I scored it a 90. Wow, this is a powerful image. Breaking through the contrast of her skin tones against that bright white background. The lighting on her, it shows off her muscles and just the power behind her. I scored it a 90. I would love to see it come up in the next category.
I'm at 88 and so want to go up to your category level. And I guess what's bothering me, because I love the story, love the composition and the presentation, it just seems lacking in exposure. We're just not seeing the snap, especially in her outfit and her hair, where if we had that, this would be over the top.
I think I scored an 85 right at the top of the merit category. It's been said.
I was at 82 merit, and Carl nailed it for me. It was underexposed. Everything else is there, and that's a big issue.
I believe I was at 84, and the things that have been mentioned kept me from going higher, but also the way her hands kind of one runs into the other, and that just was, it's hard to make sense of that sort of hand wob.
In rebuttal, if you know Dan's outfits, like I do, they're often a matte so they don't reflect light. So while it might have the appearance of being underexposed, I think it's just the material that outfit is made of. I see tons of detail in her hair. I don't see any underexposure issues. Her hands, she's jumping and flinging her hands back. They're not going to be perfectly posed. She's in motion. I would just love to see you guys come up.
Hey guys, let's rescore.
Wait, come up to what?
I'm staying at 90. I'd
Okay.
love you to come up.
Scores an 88. And for the audience, a judge can have a challenge of print after the fact. If it's bothering somebody, a couple, 2 or 3 prints later, as long as we're still in that session, they can bring that print back. That's what happened here. So, next image.
Senior by the window.
Scores a 78. And that concludes that category. Judges rotate. We're going to keep going without a break.
Wedding category is next.
Wedding category.
Does your wedding category have to be day of?
Within that event, yes.
Okay.
So no stylized events.
Wedding.
I'll bring my
Wedding. Yeah.
little trash with me everywhere I go.
Whole house here.
Medicine cabinet, snack drawer.
The current, or you?
Yes, it's following the current that it has.
You want to follow the current?
Commissioned wedding event, yes.
Okay.
Commission wedding event. Got it.
Do you want that new charge for everybody, or do you want to just let it
No,
rip?
I don't think we should do another charge.
Okay.
Oh, I've got a 63 entered in here. Let me clear that out.
The question there is as of 2 months ago, this rule changed where it has to be the day of wedding or day of the event. Before January 1, 2019, or actually canceled about mid-January, it could be a bridal portrait or anything else. Now, a bridal portrait pre-event would be in the portrait category. This is for day of event. So, with that, the first image is
A whirlwind romance.
scores of 76.
Paradise begins.
Scores of 79.
Challenge?
It's yours.
I put this in at 83. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
I'm at 77, just above average, and I love the environment. I think the exposure is handled very well as far as the technical is concerned, but it's unfortunate where the lines line up right on the groom's face and his eye. It almost gives us a cartoonish kind of look to his eye and his expression, and it just kind of hurt me from going to the next category.
I gave this an 80, deserving of a merit for sure, for all of the beautiful lighting. It's soft, the story's beautiful. I would have liked to seen a little bit more of her dress, so the composition bothers me just a little.
79 above average, it's been stated.
78 above average, it's been said.
Okay, well, maybe I overshot this one. I'll take into consideration and lower my score to an 80.
Scores of 79.
Contemplation by candlelight.
'81.
Audra.
Can we rescore?
Everybody rescore. Scores 78.
That's the end of the wedding.
Well, that's brief.
So if you want to win a trophy, you're winning.
Ooh,
Found the
thank
secret
you.
to my success.
Does that mean
Next
we
category is
have to share
Commercial.
wedding?
commercial.
Lasting longer than that.
Judges, everybody still good?
Yep.
You've only been in your new home a couple minutes. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, let her in.
First image.
Pear full of carrots.
Can we rescore, please?
Yes, please.
Everybody rescore. Scores a 79.
I'll challenge that. I'm at 82 in the merit category. I think it's got great detail and sharpness like you'd expect in a commercial image. I think the lighting's handled well. There's a little specular highlight there, but it's not overly strong. I think it's there.
This actually was a majority challenge. You challenged for I could even get that out. But anyway,
Oh.
go ahead. No, you're good.
Oh,
you're good.
you're
You're
good.
good.
I'm at 81 in favor of the merit. This seems like a great commercial image. My attention is focused on the diamonds, and the pear is just a nice background for it.
Is it over to me? I scored this a 79. Very creative. I love the title and the use of the pear to hold the carrots. However, I don't feel like those diamonds are in focus. I think the focus caught on the edge of the pear where this should have maybe a greater depth of field so everything's in focus.
I was at 72. I was the bad person, and was going to challenge to make sure that I didn't keep this from being where it should be, maybe. But I did have those same focus issues with the diamonds, and that is the product being sold. I don't think they're trying to sell the pear more than the diamonds. But the spectral highlight on the pear is way larger than any of the diamonds or the product that's being showed to us. So I have an exposure issue, a depth of field issue, and a product lacking thereof issue.
I scored this an 82 in the merit category and probably will be coming down for the reasons stated.
In rebuttal, diamonds are notoriously hard for some of the reasons you stated. So many different facets in there they can give the illusion of not being sharp. But I'm seeing detail into the gold where the diamonds are being set all the way back through the pear. So to me, that says I've got front to back sharpness. Same thing with the highlights. So you've got smooth skin on the pear. It's going to give you a nice big specular, but with the many facets of the diamonds, you're not going to see the same kind of specular highlights because there's so many different planes of light coming through there. So to me, it makes sense that it works as a commercial image. Still comfortable at 82.
Guys, what's your score? Scores an 80.
Pavilion at the spring.
Suzanne?
I'm sorry.
76.
Les Paul at Carnegie Hall.
What was the title?
Les Paul at Carnegie Hall.
Score 77.
Collector's item.
Score's an 81.
Challenge. I'm at 88, next category up. This is a wonderful piece for this vehicle. Love the highlights. Coincides with the white that's around it. It's reflecting off everything that's surrounding this area or this garage for this nice, cleanly cut Mercedes. Great detail, great exposure, wonderful piece.
Could you tell me what I scored it?
I cannot.
81.
Okay, 81. I scored this an 81, and the more I look at it, the more I love it. So I was probably a little bit low, and we'll come up.
I think I was at 79, above average. I was bothered a little bit by how some of the highlight on the hood and the right fender, our viewer left, kind of disappeared. And then the strong vertical line of the walls coming together, where you got the softness coming in from the left, kind of like to see that strong line soften down, to be quite honest.
I was at 80 for the positives, but some things that kept me from going higher, there's sort of a smudgy feel on the tires. It feels like it's been, I don't even know how to describe it. So I said it feels smudgy. There are just some little artifacting things that catch my eye and take me out of the story.
I was at, what was I at? 79?
I'm sorry, I already cleared it. I can't see it.
Oh, sorry. I think I was at a 79 on this. For me, it was the highlights where it kind of runs into the background on the left-hand side, the top of the hood, and that wall in the back creates just a box where everything else is so nice and smooth and curvy, and then you have this box of horizontal lines in the back that I would love to be taken down.
Yeah, in rebuttal, I think that boxiness, and from what's been mentioned in the background from a few of you, is what helps me contain this image. It gives us some place for them to park, a very nice clean garage for this very nice vehicle, but then it can drive off the page where it's a little bit more airy on the left side and in front of the vehicle. The reflection is what's giving us the shape and form of this vehicle, and it holds true with what's been around it. The tires, yeah, that is a little weird. I don't know, it's old tires. Hard to say. It's going to keep me from staying at 88 too, and I'm going to change my score to 85 and let her roll. No pun intended.
83.
The spring.
$75.
Stacked cups.
$74.
Custom spurs.
Scores an 80. We have an automatic challenge.
I'll take
Melissa,
this.
why don't you grab this?
I scored this an 84. I have an account where I photograph a lot of silver, and this is very well handled for these silver spurs. There's no drastic bright highlights. You can see all the detail in the engraving, the exposures there. You hear it?
At 79, just shy of it, and I want to love this so much because so much of it is very well done, like you mentioned. To me, it just feels like we should have a little more depth of field in it. The spurs themselves don't look extremely sharp and as spurry as I'd like to see.
Is that a word?
It's a word now. I'm not sure how to spell it, but
I gave this an 80, definitely deserving of a merit for all of the positives.
79 above average. Same reasons. It lacks a little detail and depth for me.
77 above average. For the depth of field, this is a commercial image, and it's supposed to be selling spurs, and the spurs are not sharp. They're not as sharp as the carving on the front, so I feel like it could benefit from a little more depth of field.
In rebuttal, spurs like this aren't about spurs, FYI. They are about the silver and the detail of the carvings, which I think is handled very well. I will come down a little bit. I think I'm going to go down to an 82.
Guys, let's rescore. Scores an 80.
Air dominance and style.
Score 76.
Chef set.
Score an 83.
Challenge. I got it up first.
You sure did.
I'm at 86 in the excellent category. So many round reflective surfaces here. Extremely difficult to handle the light on this. I think it's very well done. Excellent category.
I am also in the excellent category at 85. This is a great commercial image. It looks like it's right out of the Williams-Sonoma catalog, and I would buy these just based on the picture.
Oh, sorry, that's me. I am at an 85 on this. It's been said.
I'm at 74. I'm at above average, and I want to love this so much because the pieces are, a lot of them are very well handled. To me, though, the comparison between the highlights and all these round lids and everything else to the window in the back and the cabinets in the back, it's so bright back there, and there's some more pots back there that kind of mimic this, but they're so blown out, in my opinion, that it just seemed hard to concentrate on the set that we're trying to sell.
I gave this an 86, also in the excellent category. I loved the, I just loved all of the reflection. The cilantro you can see in the pot. You can see the tomatoes. You can see the cords. I just loved the story and the cleanliness of it, the presentation. All goes with it.
Well, in rebuttal, see, the background works for me because I feel like it's in key with everything else that's happening here, and I like the light airiness of the contemporary kitchen, and because it's dropping off, it still is a light and airy back there. I keep coming back to the primary story and the product, which is the core of any commercial image like this. So it's there, it's giving its setting that makes sense for this type of cookware, and I think the key works. So excellent category, 86.
Let's rescore, guys. Scores 95.
Pride in our country.
Score 74.
It ain't raw now.
Guys, let's rescore. uh, 78.
It's the end of that category.
In the commercial category? Yep. Everybody happy?
No, I'm going to challenge the last image.
I think
Let's
so,
do
Carl.
it.
Bring back
Let's
the last
do it.
category.
All right.
I mean, the last image.
I know I'm out
The
on
title
here.
is.
It
Title
ain't
is-
raw now.
Okay.
Thank God, that's why God invented fire, to cook food. But I'm at 86, so two categories up from where we fell here. And to me, I'm having some possible issues in the background with almost a linen kind of feel to it. And I'm thinking to myself, this is a commercial account. This is probably something done for a menu to give us that menu kind of texture feel. Because when I look at the food and the product itself, it is extremely well handled. We can see through the flame. We can see the colors within the flame. We can see the textures. You can see every bit of juiciness of that food. The styling is done well with the drink. It's all right there for that food piece commercial product. And the background, I think, everything is handled so well and deliberate that, to me, I think the background had to have been deliberate as well for the customer.
I scored this 78 under the merit for the digital noise in the background. From what we see here and into the table, it looks underexposed, but not really. Don't see the digital noise in the cocktail back there, so I wasn't sure how come the back was so far gone, and then that I'm listing.
75 for me, and because of the noise I'm seeing, I don't think the cocktail is noisy because I think they're hitting out the little light, but the background wasn't. All these tangents of the sticks back there, especially the one coming into the cocktail, is very distracting. And then I'm questioning the fire. I feel like the skewers on the right should have some burn marks, char marks, unless this thing just caught fire like right at the time of capture. I'm wondering if some of the fire was added. So I mean, it starts to give me a bit of doubt of what's going on.
I'm at 77 above average. Many of my concerns have been addressed. I'm also looking at the foil, and if you look at the left-hand side of the foil, it's a distinctly different texture than at the top of the foil than just below it, and it's almost like it was smoothed or melted. I don't know. Maybe that is a really hot flame, but it was doing something. It felt liquefied there rather than the rest of the foil.
76. It's been said.
Yeah, in rebuttal, I mean, the fire to me looks real because we got the blue base to it all. Commercial shot, whatever their assignment happened to be, I think in the end, they carried off the product in a manner that wants me want to eat that, even though I could care less about raw fish, but or whatever. But it's handled well, and let's just see where it takes us. I'm on a limb. We'll see where it goes. Judge your thoughts, your passion.
What was your score?
86. I'm lowering it to 84, by the way.
Scores are 79.
Next Kelly's illustrative.
Is that it? Next category. Let's rotate again.
48.
In our last category. Is that correct?
No, we have one more.
Oh, that's
Electronic image after this. Is everyone good on their batteries on your devices? Are they staying?
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
We're 49.
Back to square one. Yeah.
Seems like we were here before.
Right?
I don't know.
Did she just run to
Oh, that is
Yeah.
super bright. Can we put something in
That's
front of
what
that?
I was.
That's like
Judges, okay? It's hitting you all right in the face. Okay, let's take a potty break and we'll. So, audience is good. First image, please.
Another door opens.
Oh, y'all probably want to see it, judges.
There we go.
Can I have the title again?
Another door opens.
Scored 81.
Silent scream.
oh, I forgot to hit send. Sorry.
79.
Challenge. I'm at 85, 2 categories away. Enjoy this mystery, the idea that we need to look into this deeper to see the scream, the silent scream. I love that it takes well to see it. I like the tension from the taut fabric that's giving us that same story. I love that it's the person's face is way up in the top right corner, giving us that same tension. Very well handled, I think, is illustrated very nicely.
I gave this an 80 for the positives. I feel like this is 2 different keys. We've got low key, high key, or mid key. I just wonder what it would look like if this was all very lighter presentation, or take down the main image maybe to blend those two elements.
78 above average. Might have been a little tight on it, but I enjoy what's going on with the mouth and the nose and the silent scream. Don't like what's going on up by where the eyes and the hair and some extra folds there. I just find that distracting. I'm a little indifferent on the shoulder coming out. I'm trying to decide if that bothers me or not, but that's where it kept me in the above average.
76 above average. I too was bothered by the folds at the top and the shoulder in the bottom. You did address the difficulty I had getting into the screen in the first place. Makes it a little bit of a mystery. So I'm on the fence.
I gave this a 76 too. I thought I was the only low one. For me, it's the key. I enjoy the nose and the mouth. Right there, it just causes a lot of tension. It's like, yeah, this is somebody screaming. And even the shoulder adds to that for me. The key, if this were on a light background, it would make it more silent for me to explain the title. But also those folds in the fabric really just lead me right out of the image.
In rebuttal, all that I hear is tension and bothering, and that's, I think the maker is smiling and saying, this is exactly what I wanted to accomplish with the folds in the line, in the tight fabric, that shoulder poking out there. The different keys absolutely gives us, because it's so silent and it took a while to get to it the way it is now, without it being the two different keys, we might not lead ourselves to it at all. So I think that the keys really do help. I am very comfortable at 85 and wish you would join me there.
Yes, we score? Score's 84.
Drawing dead.
We have a automatic challenge. It will not give me a score. We have such an off challenge. So, yeah. Melissa, let's.
I scored this a 93. I mean, tell me what I'm missing. The expressions, the cigars, all that smoke, the stylized shoot. It's got great lighting. Let me hear your thoughts.
Well, I'm at 78 in above average category. And I think it's a neat scene, neat story, but to me it looks like it's just trying too hard. It just looks a little bit overpropped, overstaged, in my opinion. And I think we could see a lot more depth in a different kind of lighting scenario. But I'm listening.
I gave this an 80, deserving of a merit, but what would hold me from going up would just be a little too much atmosphere in the lighter parts, so they kind of lose their effectiveness for me. The top of his head, the top of the waitress's head, it's all just a little overdone, and take some of that away and this would be right up there. And then around the bottom too, you've got digital noise on the tablecloth and your shoes, all of that. I mean, maybe even crop that up on the table a little bit more before I'm willing to come up.
82, deserving of a merit, and yeah, what I was having difficulty with is the lighting and the believability of it and enhancing the story. It's almost too portraity, and it keeps me from like really reading into a deeper story, and it does make it feel a little overpropped.
I was at 84, solidly in the merit category. I did not see the artifacting banding in the tablecloth, which now raises a concern for me. But I really enjoyed the story, and I enjoyed the light and the color harmony, and I still feel like this is a pretty solid merit. I'm not sure if I could take it higher.
In rebuttal, with this seeming so portraity, I could see this as a portrait. I have a house full of brothers. I was raised with 4 in the house, and this is something that I think a mother could love if it was her portrait of her kids. Just kind of a fun story of game night and a stylized shoot. I did not see the banding and the artifacting in the tablecloth, so I will be coming down on my score for that because I feel like that could have been handled better. as well as some of the lines around the top of the two standing in the back around their heads. So I will be coming down to an 85, bottom of excellent category, and I'd love for you guys to join me.
Scores 83.
Fall Beauty.
Scores 78.
Fresh Paint.
$77.
A Dance with Crows.
Scores 80.
Sunset on Mormon Road.
$81.
Challenge. I'm at 87, next category up. Well-composed image here, nice time of day, gives us good shape and form of this main subject, the cabin. Powerful sky. I love the warmth throughout this whole scene. Nice composition, simple presentation. I think we need to talk.
I gave it an 82 for all the positives.
79 above average. Might have been a little bit low on this. Presentation was kind of pulling me out. I felt that was a little too light, and helped made it with lacking contrast to get into the main subject. But I'm listening.
80 for all the positives. The presentation did not really do anything to help it, and that really hot cloud just to the left of the orange cloud just really draws my eye over there, and I just keep going back there instead of going to the barn.
I gave it a 78. I wasn't bothered by the presentation at all. I think the mountains and the barn and the grass were handled beautifully. My issue with this is the sky. It looks like it's been watercolored or some kind of texture applied. It's through the entire thing left to right, and it just doesn't make sense why that would be there.
Yeah, in rebuttal, we heard a lot of nice things, and I love the warmth of this and the feeling we get that we'd want to be at this location. As far as the negative in the sky, I think we're seeing two different kind of cloud cover. We're seeing, very light, pastel kind of textured clouds way in the background, and then stuff that's closer to us that's giving us the light and the grandeur from the sunset. So to me, I can totally feel it. I see that a lot of times, that we have this almost cottony kind of feel, but we're also seeing hard, sharp clouds as well because of the contrast of the lighting. So to me, it handles very nicely. I'm comfortable at 87, and just vote your conscience.
Scores 84.
Mail art.
$75.
Always rushing somewhere.
$82.
Adventure awaits.
83.
Challenge. 86, excellent category. I think the tonality on this is really handled well. It's got some nice flow through it, literally with the water. It takes you from front to back and back into the mountains and makes you wonder what lies beyond, and ties back into the title. Nice museum presentation. I think it's there.
77 above average. For the center part of the image, I would probably score it an 85, but when you get to the far left, there's a lot of blocked up shadows, a lot of solid black with no detail, and then on the far right, it's just kind of muddy. There's not any sparkle or contrast on that side.
I was an 84, high end of deserving of a merit. As far as the shadows go, sometimes there's just no light in a shadow. Sometimes black is black, and that's okay. I feel like this has full dynamic range. The only thing that kept me out of the next category was there's kind of a really crisp line along the top end of the left mountain that you don't see on the right mountain.
Yeah, I'm at 84 for very similar reasons. I mean, I think for this scene, the dynamic range was handled and pulled off very well.
I was at an 86 also for all of the positives.
Well, in rebuttal, so we've got some blacks on the left-hand side. Look where your light's coming from. It's coming from the upper right and wrapping around, and there's going to be deep shadow there. As far as muddiness on the right, there's a little bit of light kicking off the rocks on the left and a little bit of the water, just enough to open that just a bit, but it's not going to be specular and sharp like you see where light is actually striking it directly without bouncing. There's some haze on the mountain on the right, which would explain why that's not quite as sharp as the line coming down the left, because that's a direct light there. So I think all the light makes sense, and really still comfortable in the excellent category at 86.
'86.
Abstract muse.
'82.
Promise of a new dawn.
'78.
Surface of a bubble with puppy.
Title again?
Surface of a bubble with puppy.
'82.
Challenge. I'm at 85, excellent category. I like this as an art piece. I mean, I could see this hanging in my house. I don't know what the heck it is. But the color range and the motion and everything, however this was done, cool. Like it.
77 above average. I really enjoyed the top 2/3 of this image, but I wanted more depth of field, so the bottom third or quarter, especially on the left-hand side, you start seeing some of those blobs go out of focus. If that had all been in sharp focus with good depth of field, I would have been up in the excellent category.
I was at an 84, and I was going to say I would hang this in my home, too. This would be an excellent piece above the toilet, just to kind of bring it. It has a very whimsical water feel. I don't mind that bottom being a little out of focus. It just kind of adds to the movement for me.
I'm at 81 and thinking I'm low. I'm going to hang it in the living room, actually. But I enjoy, actually, some of the negatives that have been pointed out are things that I enjoy about this abstract. I like the idea that some things are out of focus. It helps gives us the illusion of depth that we can wander through this and into it. I think it's very well handled. Love the color harmony. Pretty cool.
I gave it an 84, so I'm right there with you.
Yeah, and Carl said it for me. I think that little bit of stuff that's a little bit out of focus can be explained because there's water and bubble and puffy or whatever the heck's going on there, but it does add to the depth. Guys, I was at 85. I'm going up to the top end of that category, going up to 89.
88.
I'm going to challenge that. I got talked up into the 90s now. I'm at 90 in the next category. And something that wasn't really addressed yet is the diagonals that we're seeing come out of that left corner and the curve that's coming out in the right corner. Everything's still bubbling within and into the center of this and just giving us a really nice abstract with a lot of depth and wonderful color harmony. I'm just wondering if we're just timid from a category is all.
Maybe. I feel like as an art piece, this is beautiful, wonderful. Another category up, yes, I can go there. I feel like the presentation is a little dull for the vibrant, image we have in front of us. But I can go up.
Yeah, I was at 89, and I was timid to try to drag everybody up to the next category. So I thank you for challenging that. I think the simple presentation on it really adds to the modern art aspect of this, so I think anything more elaborate would detract.
I came up to 88 in the excellent category, and I'm considering moving up, but the very far upper right-hand corner, that super pink corner, is a bit of a distraction. I'm just wondering about that.
I came up to 89, and I think that pink just kind of leads me back through all the other pinks. What's holding me back from the other category is the matte. I think if it was a bright white matte, it would still have the simplicity, but it would make it pop just a little bit more.
Yeah, and rebuttal. It's funny you brought up the top pink corner because that was going to be my icing on the cake here. I enjoy that, and it's something that wasn't really mentioned, but to me, it gives us the mystery. It's a little bit more of the mystery that we want in this scene, and I love the gray. I think, and we could go back and forth, and in everybody's mind, what if white? What if this? What if that? I think gray was very safe and a very clean presentation, and it deserves to be in the next category up.
What are you going to?
I'm at 90, and I invite you to be there with me.
Final scores of 91.
Salt miners.
$75.
Hands of God.
$79.
I'll challenge. I'm at 83, merit category. I like the illustrative thought that's going on here, that the hands are much brighter than everything else and giving us almost that glow, that almost godly glow to it. I think it helps tell the story of what the maker wanted to achieve.
Yeah, I'm there with you. I was an 80, deserving of a merit. Just a wonderful, powerful story. And you can look and just tell what attention's been paid to the lighting and the detail. And, he is a little maybe dark in some areas, but it's probably a really dark church.
78 above average. And I like the story of the hands. What I'm having trouble is the technical aspect. I feel like it probably was underexposed and brought up so much for the hands. You start to bring up the cassock there. That's a technical term there. But I'm seeing artifacting throughout all that. And I'd almost rather have that go away or burn down and go dark, but I'm seeing some weird artifacting.
77 above average. I love the hands, love the scriptures. That to me is the heart of the story. But the artifacting, especially above the shoulders on both sides, it really pulled me out of the story and out of the merit category.
I was at a 75. God bless my soul. I'm the low man here. I was at a 75 for the artifacting. I love the composition and the storytelling, but I just can't get past the technical aspects of this.
Yeah, and rebuttal, forgive me, Father, I have overzealous.
Me too.
I do enjoy the story, and I love the care that the maker made in placement of the cross and the necklace in the book in the hands, but there is some technical issues above that are going to cause issues. I'm going to lower my score to 79.
Scores of 78.
Not a creature was stirring.
$83.
Challenge. 86, excellent category. Wonderful composition. I think the lighting's handled well throughout. Some nice color going on there. Good storytelling. A lot of elements there.
I was at 80 for the merit. I like a lot of things going on in this image. I feel like the lighting is really nice and well handled. The technique that's been applied, I feel, is a little heavy-handed. And then when I was looking at the book, if he fell asleep, I wonder how he was reading this book, because it is upright for us to read rather than the way he would have read it.
I was in at 84. I really enjoy this image. As far as the book, he was probably holding it like this and then fell asleep. I mean, I can see it. I'm a reader, but I enjoy it.
Merit category 83, and it's been said. It's enjoyable.
Merit category 82. I love the little look on her face too. You can tell that they have said, "You gotta close your eyes," because her jaw is clenched so tight, like yeah.
Well, in rebuttal, mostly what I'm hearing is upside down book, and it's Santa Claus. He's read this story 850,000 times to kids, so he doesn't need the book. But I'm not hearing any technical issues. I'm not hearing any lighting issues. I'm not hearing any color issues. So therefore, I think we're up into the excellent category. Please join me there. I'm at 86.
86.
Majestic mountain.
$76. $78.
Challenge. I had this at an 82. I love how clean and crisp it is. The composition is great. The color is great. The only thing that I can see that would hold it out of the merit category is maybe the matte, but not even really that. I just think that it is deserving of a merit.
77, and you hit it on the head. It's the matte for me that holds it, and then in a little bit of exposure where highlights on the blue, and especially the red one, just seems so hot in comparison to everything else. But I love the composition. The sky, it's clean. It's just a couple little things lacking.
I scored it a 79. It was the matte for me.
78, it's been stated.
75, matte and keyline.
In rebuttal, what a unique view of hot air balloons. Have you ever seen an image taken from below? I mean, come on, guys. And to line them up so perfectly to create a perfect triangle to lead your eye through that image, I think it could come up a little bit. I'm going to stay at 80. Or what was I, 82? I'm going to stay at 82, and I'd love to see you join me in the merit category.
80.
Bruno's Dawn.
$74. So Jake, let's rotate this. I told him I was going to rotate.
Ooh, back to the center.
Yep.
Just keep going.
Lucky duck.
I know. The good seat.
I love that spot.
And you have warmed it all up for me.
Yeah. It's not as edgy as over there, though.
No, I don't have to get it.
Oh.
Everybody good in their new home?
Okay, is anybody else like dying of heat?
Yes.
It's warm.
Okay. I can't take any more clothes off and stay appropriate, so.
Chris. Long story.
I'm not sure where
Hey,
we're
every
going.
Put a hair jar on that thermostat so it keeps on cooling.
It's cooler over here.
Try asking her one more time. Oh, you got the cover?
It is. There's a little bit of
Just light it on fire.
Okay.
little breeze.
As he zips up his sweater.
Is he cold?
Okay.
Just give that thermostat a hug. I mean,
We all
Okay.
Lisa said she could
Everybody good?
feel the heat coming off of me.
How cold?
Okay, next image.
Conversing with bears.
$85.
Challenge. I was at 80.
Yours.
What's that?
No, it's yours.
Okay.
Go.
I was at 89 on this. Man, tell me what I'm missing. That expression and that bear staring at him. The lighting's well. Let me hear it.
all right, I'm at 79. And I so want to be way up because what a cool story. And I love the expression of this child. My concern is very technical in that if you can explain to me how the kid is in focus and the front of the bear is in focus and everything way back of the cave is in focus, why is that the back of the bear not in focus? That just killed it for me.
Well, shoot. Because I had this at a 92. I had it in the superior category. I was even above there. Really loved the storytelling and the expression on his face and the expression on his bear, but I was probably off, so I'm listening.
I was 85. I need to peek at the bear here again. Ooh. I need say no more.
I was at 82 for the positives. I was considering going higher, but then I was noticing that the little boy's foot, the one that's down, is very soft and kind of mushes into the background. I feel like there's some depth of field issues that definitely need to be addressed.
In rebuttal, this obviously has excellent impact, but I do have to take that foot and bear into consideration. I will be lowering my score to an 80.
Your score's an 80.
Strawberry lemonade.
Score's an 81.
The harvest clouds of earth and heaven.
$77.
Fort Davis storm.
$74.
Southwest sunrise.
$84.
Mystery ship.
Michael, Lisa?
Yeah, sorry.
Scored 81.
Vietnam comrades remembered.
$78.
Challenge. I have this at 82, deserving of a merit, and I'm really enjoying the texture that's in this image and the way the highlight and darkness have been handled, and the reflection. There's so much storytelling. You look at the reflection, it almost looks like the person that they're etching is reaching back through the monument. It just has great storytelling. I feel like it's in the merit category.
I was at 74 on this. I wish we could see a little bit more of the man, because the story is about the man. And I think the presentation was a little heavy-handed on going from light to dark.
77, like it was stated, either see more of or less of him. I think we're seeing just enough that it's not leading us be comfortable with what he's doing in the story being told.
Yeah, 77 for the previously stated comments. And then what bothered me really was the presentation of just lots of different lines, and they're really none the same color. So that's not really consistent. And then there's a line above his knee between that separates his shirt from his pants. It's just a fuzzy kind of out of focus part of the technique, maybe. I'm not sure.
I was at 80, deserving of the merit, and yeah, I see that line there too, and I'm thinking that's depth of field, and didn't notice the presentation, which once you pointed out, I look at it and it bothers me. But the funny thing is that the story kept me in so tight that I didn't notice the presentation. So that tells me it's got a great story. So I waver back and forth. Take me home.
Well, I didn't notice the presentation either because the story was so compelling to me. I am right there with those hands. I feel like this is probably this man's son. It's not about him, it's about what he lost, and that's where the story is. So I don't need more of him. I want to see just enough of him to know what he's doing, and then to see the rest of the monument with the names and the image and the reflection. I'm going to stay at 82. I hope you'll join me.
Scores 80.
Last kiss of light.
Scores 81.
Fall serenity.
Scores 80.
Stealth.
Score 74.
Emerald ever after.
$79. Automatic challenge. Melissa.
I scored this an 81, deserving of a merit. I love the use of the succulent on this to give it soft lines versus the harshness of the diamonds. I think the emerald seems to be in focus. Excuse me, Carl.
That's right.
Yeah, the emerald looks sharp to me. I mean, let me hear it. The presentation's great.
I was at 75, and I enjoy the background. I think it's pretty cool. But to me, I was having issues with the 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock area of the outer band of the jewelry itself. It looks very, very sharp there, where it doesn't look sharp anywhere else along that band. And it just seems like it's just lacking there a little bit of punch to the and depth to the jewel itself.
I gave this image an 80, deserving of a merit for color harmony, presentation, creativity. I'm listening.
Yeah, 83 deserving of the merit. I think the selective focus works on this, because once it drops out of focus, to me, I'm seeing it dropping out of focus all around the band, so I'm struggling with that. Struggling with that in a good way. I think it's fine, and then it drops back out of focus back to the succulents, so it's working for me.
I was at 77 above average, and I was having the same issue as Carl. 11 o'clock, and then if you look at 4 o'clock, 4:30-ish, it's very sharp right there. I actually wish the outer band had been all soft, because then it would have just fallen into depth of field. But the fact that there are little spots of sharpness around it, inconsistently applied, tells me that there's something going on that doesn't make sense.
In rebuttal, I hear ya, and I do see that now. I think I was just drawn in by the impact and creativity, but I will lower my score to a 79.
What's your score? Score 78.
Repetition in Rome.
Scores a 79. Automatic challenge. Lisa.
I scored this at 75, just above merit. I mean, just above average. For me, I couldn't make sense of the texture or the painting. I can't tell if that's been applied in post-processing or if that is painted onto the image. If it is painted onto the structure, then it's painted onto the glass as well. I just was having trouble making sense of it.
I scored this an 81, deserving of a merit. It makes sense to me. I've been to Rome. It's completely covered in graffiti. And I just think it's been very well handled. It's taken at the right time of day. The lines are all straight for the architecture. Matt's a little bit bright, but I still think it's deserving of a merit.
Yeah, I was at 80, deserving merit, and I think, given the title again, please.
Title again.
Repetition.
Repetition in Rome.
In Rome. I think it might have been an overlay, but they're trying to give the illustration of the several things that they saw all in one piece, and the combination of them gave us a really nice illustrative, abstract, and architectural feel to this. Well done.
80, it's been said, I love the mat, too, to address that.
78 above average, and I wish the overlay or whatever technique was used here was done a little bit better, and applied a little bit more, so it looked like it was part of the structure behind it. To me, it feels like two separate things that are just combined together that just don't unify.
I don't get a rebuttal. You say.
Right. Your score?
It dropped right there.
You want to take it right.
Score 79.
And Judge, if you'll speak up a little bit, because it sounds like they're working outside, just so everyone can hear.
Okay.
Melissa's putting her clothes back on.
It's plenty cold now, by the way.
Yeah, now we're freezing.
I'm not freezing.
good.
It feels good.
Feels good. Don't touch it, dude.
Okay, judges, let's rotate. Let's go and rotate judges one step.
I don't like that scene.
Good seat.
There you go. I haven't seen you in forever.
Blood flowing. We're heading there.
Do some jumping jacks.
It's not dark yet, so that's good.
Does anybody else need to like scream or anything? I'm just wondering. Is it just me?
Scream?
I can't scream, but I could yell.
You can't
I
scream.
can. If something went wrong, I don't know what I would do.
It'd be
I can't scream.
silence.
Yeah,
Okay, guys, here we go. Okay. We gotta get the room up at midnight.
Nightmare of a past prisoner.
Score 76.
Sea mystic.
$75.
Aspermont Butte.
Score 73.
San Miguel Mission, Santa Fe.
Score 77.
Red geranium up close.
You were saying.
Never mind, Siri.
73.
Let's not use our phone.
Life goes on.
$79.
Challenge. I'm at 84, top end of merit category. I enjoy the starkness of these dead trees and then the very light, airy parts of this fountain or whatever you want to call it, geyser. I think that it's handled well in the tonal ranges. It's got interest and mystery, museum quality type of presentation that is fitting with this type of image. I think we just need to talk about this.
I gave it an 80, definitely deserving in the merit category for impact and the tonality. Looks like it was handled very well, and just what a great story of the death, but then there's the life with all of the fog or water rolling in. Yep.
Yep.
On to you.
78 above average. I feel like it's a little underexposed. The tree on the right and the whole area on the right just feels a little under and a little plugged up to me. I want it to be a little open to enjoy this darkness more.
76 above average. I also felt it was underexposed. That was exaggerated by the fact that the mat is white and it's much brighter than anything inside the image.
I give it a 78. I felt like the tops of the clouds where the light would be should be at least as bright as the water.
Interesting concepts. And you know, in nature, who knows? I mean, could have been a little bit overcast. The sun is just peeking through dense fog, which I think really does make sense when you look at the haziness of that far ridge, you know, beyond this. But nothing in nature is white. So to compare that to the museum quality of the mat, I don't think is giving us the right indication as to the exposure. Because I do see detail in all those areas, in the darks and in the lights, and I love the composition, the diagonal lines, the three trees all by themselves in the far right, the one by itself in the bottom right to help hold us. I think it's handled very well, and maybe overzealous at 84, but I feel merit, so I'm going to stay at 80.
Scores an 80.
Raven seal.
$74.
To infinity.
$76.
Victory bells ring out.
82.
First dusting.
74.
Vivid Roman dreams.
80. Automatic challenge.
I'll take it. I'm at 84, high in the mirror category. This one works for me. I think it's got a nice isolation on the subject where all the colors swirl around, the lines swirl around, and graphically it's appealing.
With 76 above average, the not the overlay, but the background elements seem very soft to me, except for the feet of that angel. But everything else seems just a little too soft.
I was at a 79, and the feet of the angel are the brightest part of that image and are what draw me in, but there's no shadow beneath them or anything to anchor them to that platform that they're on, which is enhanced by the fact that they're so bright.
79, it's been said.
80 for the positives.
Well, in rebuttal, yeah, darn angel feet are bothering me now. So I liked everything else about it except for the darn angel feet. So I'm still in the mirror category. I'm dropping down to an 80 though.
Score 79.
Rest stop.
74.
Out to pasture.
77.
Shannon Garden.
74.
Turk's Cap Detail.
73.
Reflections.
75. And that's the end of that category. We have one category left, which is not that big. So judges, let's rotate again.
Oh no!
Damn it, I'm all on the edge again.
Nuts.
The next category.
Checkmate.
We don't have an image to do that.
There we go.
Okay.
Scores of 78. Automatic challenge. Suzanne.
I gave this an 82, deserving of a merit. I love the storytelling. I love the composition, the way they handled the fire. I love the out of focus foreground. So I'm listening.
78 above average. I don't find the lighting believable in the space. I would need to see if there's an explosion of a fire. There should be some orange glow coming off of him, and I'm not seeing it there. There's just some elements that are missing.
82 merit. The storytelling and the impact on this were really strong when it popped up. I feel like the pieces that were used have been used to great effect, and I am enjoying the image.
I scored this one a 75. I feel like there should be a little bit more depth of field through this image. That chest piece on the right-hand side is very out of focus, but at the top of it you can really see the cut marks on it. where it was dropped in. And with this being a category on how you do the work, I feel like this is falling short of a merit.
75, exactly. You hit it on the head. The story is really cool. I think it's a wonderful idea. It's just execution, how it was carried off. When you have the boy in focus, the main subject, which is lacking light and reflection that is on the scene, but then you go farther in and you have chess pieces that are way out of focus, but then all the scene behind it, the background, is in focus again. It's just not physically possible, so it just doesn't quite carry technically.
Well, okay. I was probably a little overzealous here, but just to address some of what has been said for the maker, I don't really know how else you would drop in a cutout of something that is out of focus. So that didn't really bother me. And as far as the believability about it, I mean, this is a fantasy piece, so I don't think that it's unacceptable that we have in and out of focus elements, but that being said, I probably was a little high at an 82, but I do think it's deserving of a merit. I'm going to stick with an 80.
Guys, let's rescore. $77.
Traders.
$83.
Challenge. I'm at 88, next category, and maybe timid at that. Wow, look at the guide prints here and the story that the maker gave us, and the technical aspect of it is wonderful. Changing the group way in the back there, changing her hair color, thinning her out, adding the bag, but the lighting just works so well everywhere and every aspect of this image. The color harmony, the storytelling, the lighting, the dimension, the presentation, it's all next category up in my opinion. Let's talk.
Yeah, I gave it an 80 and was probably low because, I mean, look at those teepees, the detail that they've added, the whole technique of the horses in the background. I was probably very gun shy.
83 deserving of a merit may have focused in on one thing a little too much, and that's the younger man with the kerchief. I'm just believing the light that's on his face. I'm trying to figure out where it's coming from. Maybe it's reflecting off the hat. I don't know. But that was the only thing that really pulled me away.
It was an 80, and perhaps I was a bit low. I'm concerned, though, about the inconsistency of that painting technique applied through the image. If you look up at the trees in the upper left-hand corner, that looks very photographic. It doesn't have that same painterly quality. And then you see it again over on the right-hand side. You see part of the tree looks painterly, but then where the leaves are silhouetted against the clouds, it has more of that photographic feel. So I want to have that painterly feel throughout the entire image.
83, it's been said.
Yeah, in rebuttal, I think we're all there with the story and the lighting and the work that the maker did to this to create a very nice storyline. As far as the trees and maybe the brushing effect, I think some of that might just be, in my mind, maybe the wind is blowing. I don't know, maybe the trees are blowing around a little bit. Who knows? But it seems to have a consistency range that is very comfortable. I'm going to stay at that category, and I would invite you to be 85 or higher.
86.
Dreamland.
82.
Zach to the future.
Huh. There we go. Okay.
Scores an 80.
I'll challenge, and I really don't like to do this, but I'm at 77, and it just for the maker's sake, so that we can put our best foot forward as we go on. I think it's a really cool concept, and I mean, we all know it from Back to the Future and everything like that. But explain to me how his knees became bow-legged. When it started off, his legs were fine, and all of a sudden now his legs don't look like legs anymore. And I'm having a really hard time with that. Explain to me why that would have been taken to that level, and I'll be happy to move up.
Okay, I scored it an 80, deserving of a
my
merit.
turn.
I'm sorry. I
No,
thought
it's
we were
not.
going
No,
this
you're
way.
right.
No. Okay, never mind. Sorry. I'll shut up now.
I was gonna say, I mean, could perhaps the knees be explained by the direction of the font? Maybe the letters like took wind and blew his knees. I think they blew this back left knee like out into a double jointed position. That would be the only way I could explain that, but I love the creativity.
79. Often time travelers do get distorted in their knees. No, that's exactly what I mean. I'm giving you your rebuttal. So, no, that's exactly where I was at with that too.
I was at 82. I didn't notice the knees, but now that I see them, it's very disturbing. But as I studied it more, I also noticed that the fire tire tracks go right up to his feet, which doesn't make any sense at all. So something else for the maker to consider.
Okay, now it's my turn for reals. I scored this an 82, and I stared at those knees for what felt like forever before I scored this, and it had to have been done intentionally for that to happen. So I was giving the maker the benefit of the doubt that maybe they were trying to do kind of the wavy Back to the Future coming time travel, type scenario where their body is a little bit distorted.
Okay, in rebuttal, I mean, you never know. I mean, warp speed. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it could happen. But in addition to that, though, I think that then we would see more of that throughout the scene too. Maybe in his arms or the vest line or something else to coincide with what's happening with his appendages. In addition to that, things that bother me, the brightness of him on the top part, the arm and the face, it just looks like it's a little overexposed. I mean, I understand the brightness behind maybe as being part of Back to the Future, but if we could have a little more detail on him, I think this is all things that should be handled in the art category. I'm at 77. Bless you. Bless you.
Score 78. Actually, the bent legs was he's wearing Nike tennis shoes and they blew out. So.
He was burning them.
Next image.
Retro pinball restoration.
'82.
Gone fishing.
77.
Follow moose.
Oh.
Scores an 82. And judges, let's rotate again.
Shifting, we're all shifting.
Center seat.
Michael, back in the middle.
Yes, finally. And I ain't moving again.
Hello, I haven't seen you forever.
We gotta figure that.
Everybody says that.
You doing good on temperature?
Much better.
Up, down, about perfect.
Yeah, we're better.
Everybody perfect? Okay. Next image.
It's a tradition.
Okay.
Scores an 81.
All out.
Scores an 80.
A storm is coming.
Scores an 80. We have an automatic challenge. Melissa, it's yours.
I scored this one in 83. There's just so many little details in there that you really have to look at to see it. It just draws you in. The way that the home plate is broken. I don't know if the movement in the bat is breaking it or if it's the storm itself. I just think it's a striking piece that the mother of this baseball player probably just loves.
I was at 77 and I enjoy the story. I think it's pretty cool, but it just, some parts of it just didn't make sense to me. The movement of the rain, but then all the rocks and everything that are supposedly part of the storm are dead still, frozen in motion, as is the wave. So it just didn't harmonize to me with the story that's going on.
I gave it a 79, just under the merit category for me. The title is, a storm is coming, so I just don't think the base image is really showing that power and that impact. The background is a little bit less dynamic for me. The lighting on the background and all the water doesn't really follow the light that's on him. I just would have liked to have a little more impact.
78 above average. Yeah, I think the core element here of the player is lacking dynamic pose, and I'm just not feeling it there. A lot of interesting elements added, but it's not cohesive.
I scored this an 82 based on the initial impact. I was really taken by the storytelling. The color harmony was really well done. But as I study it more, it's starting to fall apart. The comments that have been raised about the lack of intensity and the disconnect between the moving raindrops and the rocks, it's starting to fall apart.
There's no
Guys, let's restore. That was a sign. I'm sorry. Score 78.
There's no place like home.
82.
Grizzly.
Scores to 84.
Challenge.
Yeah.
I'm at 91, and I'm not sure why I'm there. Actually, what a wonderful painting of this grizzly bear. I love the fact that they gave it warmth, and bless you, and the composition that they chose, and the handling of the painterly effect throughout the grass and in front of the bear, and the textures in the fur of the bear, and handled well into the depth of field and the lens type of blur that happens in the background, still holding true to that same technique. That is superiorly done. I'm enthralled by this.
Yeah, I gave it an 86, and I think once you get up and look at it closely, it doesn't look anything like you see it on that screen. The painterly technique is just outstanding. You look at those base images. Look at the bear. He is obviously in nowhere near that kind of great light. It's daylight. You take the trees. They're so sharp and detailed, but look how they have applied this technique and painted every strand of grass and trees and background. It all just goes together perfect. I think we're low. We need to go up a category.
Yeah, I was 84 high end of merit category, and didn't take into account enough of where they started and where they got, because where they got's great. Where they started is like, holy crap, look how far they took this. So
I was at 80 merit, and I too really neglected to take into effect the starting and finishing, the distance between the two.
I was at 81, just deserving of a merit. What held me back was at the bottom of the bear, the grass and the bear start to blend together with the brush strokes. You kind of lose the grass, you lose the bear. And I'm not entirely sure what's happening there, but you lose all that bright detail in the fur and along the front leg. I could come up a category. Try to convince me.
Okay, I will. I think that what you're seeing in the transition from the grass to the bear is handled very well. It's just longer grass, and the bear's hand is falling into it. We're creating that shadow, especially on the shadow side, which is extremely believable, which we didn't have even remotely in the original image. I mean, that was just raw light all the way around it. But now the maker gave us a foundation because of that shadow and the transition from the grass that it's sitting in into the bear itself. And it gave us coolness in the shadows. Look at the maker changed the arm. That front left arm is actually lifted off the ground more than what it was in the original. Gives us a sense of movement. I'm going to be less timid, and I'm moving my score to 100, and you guys can go where you want.
Ah, damn it. Okay.
Final scores 96.
Nicely done. Nice. It's beautiful.
Santa's treasure. I'm sorry. Masquerading peacock.
Okay.
Score 79.
Challenge. I have this at an 84, high deserving of a merit. Look at those peacock feathers, guys. This is handled so well. And I can tell you from experience, peacock feathers are hard. They are so hard to make them look right. And I think this maker did an excellent job. The lighting on her face, those eyes popping through, the eyes are the same color as that dress. The whole piece is just beautiful.
Well, I'm at 77, and I do enjoy what the maker gave us here. But the work that I see that was really the electronic imaging, the art part was just the peacock feathers on the dress. And then of course the background looks like it was smooth, but when the maker smooth the background, we're having very much aberration, almost like a glowing radiation coming through there. And it's a technical issue that was brought out with the effect that the person made.
I gave it a 78, just under the merit category, just under merit for me. I feel like the maker did a great job with the peacock feathers, but you've got all that movement coming from behind her, but yet her arm is just hanging there. It's so stagnant. It really takes away from the impact for me.
78, it's been said.
77, it's been said.
Okay. I will take into consideration what you guys are saying, and I will lower my score to a 79.
Scores of 78.
Santa's treasure.
There we go.
Scores of 78.
That's all.
That's it.
We're done?
Wow.
Okay, spike my iPad.
I've waited all week for that.
Is there no response?
Yes.
Well, you know,
I have
Yes.
not even touched
Maybe
my
the judges, it's a lot harder to sit in that chair and do that